It looks like Microsoft may have been too early yet again. Happy Friday, friends. It is Friday, which means we're podcasting, which means we're doing the stuff, which means, yeah. So a little quick show note here. I have overhauled this entire podcast studio. Now, by overhaul, I mean I really just moved things. We're repurposing this room to be a multi-purpose area. It's going to be a podcast studio. There's also going to be a treadmill. You'll never see the treadmill, although I will be playing Xbox on this TV. So one of the whatever. This is way not really where I intended to go. One of the things I'm going to do, I haven't played Indiana Jones yet. We're getting a treadmill delivered tomorrow. And my intent is to play Indiana Jones while I'm walking on the treadmill. Be a little bit healthier for me for 2025. But that means that I had to move a lot of my computer and back-end infrastructure into a more condensed area so that the treadmill would fit and I can use the TV. And here we are talking about this room yet again. So hopefully the audio's good. Hopefully everything else is good. Hopefully you had a wonderful week. Let's dive in because there is a lot to talk about. So, Microsoft is deprecating suggested actions in Windows 11. It's a feature you probably didn't use, but if you've ever highlighted a phone number, you could add things to your contacts and other stuff, but all that stuff's going away. So I hope you did not need it. And yeah, that's because Microsoft isn't going to be supporting it anymore. That is going away. Windows Insiders, you all, lucky people you, I should say, you can now share files between your iPhone and your PC a lot easier. So this file sharing feature already worked with iPhones, but iPhone users will need to download the latest link in Windows app from the App Store, and you can now share files more easily back and forth. However, I will give you a little pro tip. If this doesn't work for you, or I shouldn't even say it doesn't work, if this isn't your flow, this isn't something you want to do. Something I do that works exceptionally well. I have OneDrive, probably just like everybody else does here, and I have a folder in there called Transfer. And if I need to move things from my PC to my phone or to any other device, I just drop it in that OneDrive Transfer folder, and within 10 seconds, it's showing up on every device. That way you don't have to worry about these dedicated experiences, like just create a OneDrive folder. It works for Dropbox, anything that you can get on all your devices. So that is how I move content around. Maybe you should try it out yourself. So, Windows 24H2, there's a lot of bugs. They continue to be reported, and we found another one over at Stardock this week. So, you've heard things like Ubisoft games not working, other various things. Here's a little fun one you can try. If you close everything on your desktop, you don't have to close it, but minimize it into the taskbar, and click on or hover over the task view button that brings up like the multiple desktops. When you hover over that button, all the text on your desktop becomes like fluorescent white. And then when you move it off, it goes back to normal. When you move it back over, it's whatever. That's a minor bug, but I keep getting asked if I should update to 24H2, and it's like I continue to tell people like you might just want to wait here for a little bit. So, Microsoft is also killing off Skype credits for people. I used to have a bunch back in the day. I don't know to say who would have them, but in favor of subscriptions. So if you're using that for like phone numbers and stuff and you were buying credits, you're now going to be paying monthly for that sort of thing. And so Microsoft's probably thinking like, gosh darn it, if we can't kill Skype, we're going to launch a subscription. And yeah, so that is going to be happening. Microsoft is also launching Recall, if you recall, on various devices outside of the Qualcomm factory, or I should say form factor. So if you have an AMD device or an Intel device that has the appropriate NPU, then you can use Recall. I believe you got to be an insider, but yes, that is that. Also, Copilot, because Copilot hasn't launched a new app in a while, they're launching another new app experience. They're getting rid of the old and in with the new. So this is what it will look like if you're on the video side. They claim it's a native app, but it's still really just a web page. And so, yeah, Microsoft just keeps slamming Copilot things down. My biggest issue with Copilot right now is not the forms, the functionality, or everything else. It's the lack of a cohesive narrative for the business. So I hate to compare it to Apple, but like Apple, hey, we're going to ship our Apple Intelligence on all these devices all at the same time, and the experience is this. And it just shipped. And not meaning just shipped this week, but I mean it was just like one big kaboom, and there's all the stuff everywhere. Whereas Microsoft was like, we've got this app, then we got rid of that app. Now we have a new app, and now they got rid of that one. We're actually, I believe, on the third iteration of Copilot apps. And so it just, again, in the most Microsoft way possible, they just don't feel like they're got that cohesive step locked experience. And it's not even the features. It's just the messaging and the delivery of it just doesn't feel like the company is moving in lockstep together rather than just these individual silos, like just get it done, ship it, rather than, the company doing things as a company altogether. So the one other thing I really want to hit on here is I think it has come like real apparent again that Microsoft was once again very early and killed a product too soon. In 2024 alone, Microsoft killed Windows Mixed Reality, and they also killed HoloLens 2. In 2042, Windows Mixed Reality devices are no longer supported. And what was announced this week? Android XR. Now, if you're on the video side, tell me what this video reminds you of. Tell me what this experience reminds you of. It looks like dead on like what HoloLens was doing. There's also some mixed reality experiences in there that we had seen from those headsets from the various vendor. And so Android XR is not available. I should say it's coming to market. Like the development stuff, I believe, is now available. But like you're not going to grab a pair of sunglasses just yet. But like they've got this stuff. Apple's got the Vision Pro. Meta has their stuff. And it's like Microsoft, for once again, much like the tablets, much like many other things, they were too early, didn't hold on long enough, and now the market is going to be competing against, everybody but them will have these VR, AR, mixed reality experiences, and they're dead for Microsoft. So, it's not, I don't want to say it's not bad. It just all looks so familiar that Microsoft was doing this, and kind of goes back to that Copilot stuff. They have this thing, and it just never feels like the company could just get out of its way and just build the thing and ship the thing in a way that everybody was telling them to do. Now, granted, just building a pair of sunglasses with all this built in is not easy. I fully recognize it's like, just go build a pair of headset or sunglasses or whatever that are only $200 and they'll sell like crazy. Like, I understand that is a very difficult thing to do. However, Microsoft, they were like right there, and they had years of lead up to this. And then here we are talking about how Google is going to swoop in along with Apple and do their thing. Although I will tell you that the Android XR does seem like it's in a better place potentially than Apple's Vision Pro, which, as we all know, is over $3,000. And there, of course, have been rumors that Apple's going to try to scale it down, but like we all know what we want. And so on the Android side, it's basically going to be like your phone and your glasses and like these things, which I was looking for them before when I was talking, right? This is what we all want. These are the X Real glasses that they sent to me a while ago. This is what we want. We want to be able to put these things on, have it wirelessly connect to here, and just be the experience. Like that is where Android XR is heading. That's where these guys are heading. Apple might be getting there eventually, but that's the experience we're chasing. And Microsoft had their mixed reality headsets. They kind of stopped pursuing that market. They had their HoloLens. They stopped pursuing that market. And so here we are with Android XL, and these X Real glasses are a pretty good example of what you can grab literally today. And then the XR stuff that we just saw in that video there will show you what's coming in the not too distant future. So yeah, here we are yet again talking about what Microsoft is doing. So anyways, on to the gaming news. Let's jump over to the gaming news here. So here we go. The Xbox app is getting a big change, not from like a physical and visibility perspective, but from they are bringing outside apps into the store that if they have any tie into Xbox, any features like Xbox Play Anywhere apps are now going to start showing up. Xbox mobile apps are going to start showing up. I think they said there's going to be 400 new apps showing up, or games, I should say, should qualify that, showing up in the store that aren't necessarily Xbox only titles, if that makes sense. This is a big change. They said that there's going to be 100 Play Anywhere. They've been working with third parties. And this is Microsoft really expanding beyond their horizons, because if you think about it, once they get past the regulatory issues of not being able to put an app store on iOS and Google Play, which I recognize are tall tasks, but we're getting there, slowly but getting there. You will have one app store from mobile to PC to console, which I believe Xbox might be the only ones who can do that. Right? Because PlayStation, we don't know their full plans yet, but like out of the gate, it sounds like Xbox is going to be the only one who will have that cohesive ecosystem across all the platforms. And then when you put in cloud streaming, it kind of ties it all in together. And this is like a real big, once those stores launch, hopefully it all works as expected. But this is really bringing all that together and really kind of showcasing what they are going to do with this, all these IPs that they have been buying for billions and billions of dollars. So other things that are happening, I already said, I was on my notes here that I'm going to be playing Indiana Jones while watching this TV on the treadmill once that thing arrives. The other thing too, I didn't notice any killer hardware deals. I was looking for another Series X to put on this TV. I'm going to be playing a Series S on this TV, and this is a 4K TV. And I was looking for an X to pick up, but never found any great deals. Like, I'm not willing to spend $500 for a second X to play on this. It's not worth it. And so, yeah, I was looking for this killer deals for this holiday season, but I just don't think we've solved it. Marvin with the first question, because questions are my favorite part of the week. He says, how is the first weekly podcast in the new cozier studio? Well, you guys tell me. If you can't tell any difference, that means things have gone well. So we will hope for that. Snow2 says, now that the year is wrapping up, what are you looking forward to most from Microsoft this next calendar year? One, I want to continue, starting on the gaming side, I continue to see how their Xbox strategy evolves at the end of the day, right? That app store, getting things onto the mobile stores, and then seeing like, how does their messaging evolve? Because, right, we keep hearing that everything is an Xbox, including these glasses, apparently. So we will continue to see how that messaging evolves. Like, what does that message truly mean? And if you think about it, if everything's an Xbox, that means you buy your app once, you play it on all these devices, and bada bing, bada boom. That is on the gaming side. On the Windows side, what I really hope to see on the Windows side is them like truly aligned to one update per year. Windows 12 gets announced next year. I don't know if this is true, but ideally, like Windows 12 gets announced next year in June or whatever, and it ships in October, and it's just, again, back to this one update per year, one quality update, not 24H2 quality, but like quality update, and we really start to see things come together from a Windows side, because there's been, Panos has been gone for a decent amount of time now. Long enough that new leadership, Pavan, should be able to make his footprint on things about how things are going to be changing. Because right now, again, updates just ship. They ship every minute of the day, and you never really know what's going on. So those are the two things. If there's anything else, I would love to see. I'd love to see their email client continue to evolve into something much more usable. The most frustrating thing about the email client right now, everybody can experience this themselves. Open up the new Outlook, and I mean the new Outlook. Go to delete messages. Don't use your keyboard. Don't cheat, because that's how I do it, but use your mouse and start clicking the delete button. That animation is so slow that when you click a delete button, by the time you're ready to click the next one, it hasn't completed and you end up opening the message below. It's really frustrating rather than deleting it if you do it too fast. That's like the little stuff that people drive you nuts about that Microsoft doesn't seem to get and or care about. Eternal says, hello, Brad. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. My question is this. Seeing your videos about Microsoft features for PC, Game Pass, consoles, and now mobile as a bridge, will we ever see the smart glass features that we used for Dead Rising 3 that we got to see the map and everything else, in which this was synchronized with the game? So I'm gonna paraphrase here. So you can imagine these glasses come on, and you can now be partaking in the console game across all this stuff. So what his point is here is that type of an experience would seem to be plausible, right? When you have the back-end infrastructure like the xCloud, you could be streaming. We'll even use a simpler one. Let's say I'm playing Call of Duty Black Ops 6, because that's a factual thing, on my console, and I have my phone sitting right next to me. What if on here was the little ping radar? Because again, it could sync over the cloud as in the game. So I could have, like a dedicated radar, that kind of stuff. In theory, it's possible. Practically, I don't know. The question becomes, here's where people will be like, no, I want to pay for that. That's going to increase the cost for games, right? The development cost. Granted, Call of Duty was a couple $100 million. Maybe it's not that much for them, but it would increase their cost, testing and everything else. And so could they charge more for that? Maybe. Would people pay for it? I don't know. It's an interesting thought, though, especially when you have this connective tissue on the back end known as the Xbox network that would bring it all together. Sydney2K dropping a question. He says, it's that time of the year where I ask about Microsoft's year. What has been Microsoft's pluses and minuses, and where does Microsoft stand now as compared to last year? Wonderful question. I probably should have read these ahead of time to prep for a little bit, but shooting from the hip, which I'm real good at doing. By real good, I mean, whatever. So on the positive side, they have done a good job staying in the AI conversation. There's a lot of times, the mobile stuff, this now Android XR and all that stuff. Microsoft a lot of times gets left out, right? They're a juggernaut in the industry, but they get left out from a lot of the consumer side tech. So they have done a good job of navigating this AI scenarios that we are in and making sure that Copilot is a brand name and that they are staying relevant in that space. I don't think anybody would sit here and tell you that Microsoft is going to miss AI. I don't think that is a thing. So from that perspective, they have done a good job of not screwing that up. From things I would love to see them improve, a lot of it is personally related just to Windows. Again, I would love a more cohesive strategy about what is going on with Windows, what is the future of Windows, what is the roadmap of Windows. And a lot of people, when I hear me say like roadmap of Windows, man, what's that? Like, what are all the features that are coming that are going to make it great? It's not the features that I'm interested in. It's the hardware requirements. What's happening with the NPU side? What is the future of like a Windows 12 needing an NPU? Like, is that a thing? Are NPUs going to become more pervasive? Also, I'd love to hear more about ARM. Like, that is the big thing I'm looking forward in 2025 is like, is NVIDIA going to launch an ARM PC? Are we going to see other players enter? Which this doesn't all directly answer your question, but is something I should probably think more about than just right now. All right, Mr. PK dropping a question. He's got two in here, but he's split up by somebody. So he says, Google announced Android XR, but have you tried the Meta? I've been interested with this. The Meta Quest with your Xbox at all, since you are a hardcore gamer. I don't know if I call myself a hardcore gamer. I would call myself a dedicated Xbox gamer. I have not. I was actually looking... I've thought about picking up a Meta Quest. The Meta Quest 3S is like $299. When I was looking at the Series X, and I was like, man, this thing's still $500. It's like, MetaQuest is much less. I'm not going to play games on it. Like, here's what I want to know. And if anybody has one of these, please let me know. I love space stuff. There on the old mixed reality things, you could play a Sandbox Simulator or Universe Simulator. I think it was Universe Simulator. And you could go look at the planets. I have tons of videos of my daughter when she was like 4 and 5 wearing this headset and like looking like at Saturn. You can see the rings. And like that is what I like to go do, is like literally jump into space. So if there's any of those like Sandbox simulators for space and like exploring planets and whatnot, let me know, because that might push me over to buy one of these things. So Will says, what do you think the chances are that within the next year or so, there will be a version of the new Windows Link device? So the Windows Link device, for those who are not familiar, that is the Microsoft 365 cloud desktop experience. It's the thing that looks like a Mac Mini, but it's not a Mac Mini. That's what it's called, but dedicated to Xbox Cloud gaming. So there was, oh gosh, I can't think of the device that Phil Spencer canceled. Whatever that thing was called, roughly the same form factor, but it was way less performant. So I would expect that if they do like a cloud streaming box, dedicated box, which I think was the right move, to cancel it and just try to embed these things into the televisions like we're starting to see on occasion. I think Samsung and a couple others do this now. That to me makes more sense than trying to ship this box, because if you're going to go out and buy an Xbox Cloud box, if you will, whatever you want to call this thing, the Xbox TV Link, it's got to be cheap. It's got to be like $59. But the problem is you need the box and a controller if you don't have a controller. So then you're looking at $100 for this thing, and it's like, oof. That's a lot to play cloud gaming when then you need the subscription service on top of that. So you're looking at probably $129 just to get started. Whereas you could go grab an Xbox Series S for like $199 if you find some of those mega deals. Plus you need the $20 unless it comes with like 3 months free. Sometimes it does. And I guess the cloud thing could too. But I personally don't think it's going to happen. I mean, we have heard the rumors that the PlayStation 6 is launching in like 2 years. So Microsoft should hopefully be like full scale right now developing the next console at this point. And so I don't think it makes sense for them to do that. They didn't ship a mid-gen premium box like the PS5 Pro. So I wouldn't expect, I don't think they would do it at this point. I think that they looked at it, they built the thing, couldn't get the price point, didn't make sense, canceled it, and are moving on. And Mr. PKI wrapping it up for the week. It is Friday the 13th. Do you have any good news for us today? Well, I guess that depends where you are. I had an extremely busy week at work. So this week, my team, we shipped 2 products. Actually, we shipped a total of 4 things this week. 2 significant backend updates for our apps and infrastructure. And then we shipped 2 new apps, Multiplicity 4 1.0, which I'm using to now help run this podcast. And then we also shipped Start 11 v2.5 beta, which introduces vertical taskbars. So from my personal perspective, getting this week done and getting all that out of the way, and it doesn't seem that anything went sideways on us, at least not yet, was a very good thing. But from like the broader community, first off, Indiana, if you're an Xbox gamer, Indiana Jones has been extremely well received. Like, it looks like Xbox and Machine Games did like a really good job here. Like a really good job. Like I said, I'll be playing it here in the near-ish future, and I'll have more details, I'll have a better feedback here. It seems like that. It seems like Game Pass has also done well. We'll have to wait and see on the numbers, but it seems like Game Pass subscription growth may have seen some pops because of Call of Duty Black Ops and the holiday. So from that perspective, it seems like things are doing all right for the Microsoft, at least on Xbox side. However, we'll see what happens in January. I think January will give us a good idea about, I hope there aren't. There's rumors floating around inside the company about not great things happening in January. So we will see. We will see, Mr. PKI. We shall see. I don't know. I kind of dodged that one pretty effectively if I'm self-aware. Good news. It's just been a good year. I mean, like 2024 has come to an end. Like, that's crazy in itself. And hopefully everybody had a good year. Like, that's kind of, I don't know. The holidays are among us. I will tell you that February is my least favorite month, and we are rapidly approaching that. And that always makes me a little rough. So, yeah. Anyways, that wraps it up for this week, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to keep it subscribed here, because the BS on this podcast is me.